Hey everyone, it's Jill and welcome back to my booktube channel. This video is going to be a reading vlog and I'm going to be reading Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. As a warning, this video will have full spoilers, so if you haven't read this book yet or do not want to be spoiled, keep that in mind before continuing with the video. This is Ali Hazelwood's new release that just released on February 4th, I think it was. I just picked it up this morning, a day after the initial release, but I'm really excited for it. And it has really cool sprayed edges. This is a contemporary romance about two college students who are also swimmers, which normally wouldn't really catch my attention, but because it's Ali Hazelwood, I feel like I need to read this because generally I feel like I do enjoy most of her books, and I feel like this one is going to be a little bit similar to Not in Love in terms of it being spicy. So I'm going to get this started though, and I will update you guys really soon with any thoughts, feelings, or predictions that I have. I'm on chapter 22 at page 131, and this is about our FMC Scarlett, and she's actually not a swimmer, she's a diver. The MMC though, Lucas, he's actually a swimmer, so I was kind of mistaken at the start, but she has had an injury in the past. It was a shoulder injury, and since then she's had a little bit of a mental block and what she calls the twisties when it comes to diving and doing easy dives that she used to be able to do in the past. She's really struggling with now. She's also quite the go-getter and really wants to excel in all aspects of her life, academically and in her sport. She's in school to eventually become a doctor and a surgeon similar to her stepmom. I would describe her definitely as a perfectionist and has kind of caused her to feel unease or anxiety, I guess, in certain situations, and in situations particularly where she feels like she doesn't have control. So I mentioned the MMC Lucas, and he is a swimmer, and it's interesting because they've known each other actually for like 2 years, but Lucas was dating her swim captain Penelope at the time, and then they recently broke up. So yeah, Lucas and Scarlett are going to be working on this biology project together. It is doing research and whatnot, and actually this project is run by Adam and Olive, who are professors at the university, and they are also the main characters of the love hypothesis, which is really cool seeing that kind of crossover. Anyways, when she met him, and I said this in my previous video, but I feel like Ali Hazelwood always describes the MMC, and when the FMC kind of runs into the MMC, it always goes along the lines of, oh, I just ran into a wall. And that is exactly how it was described in this book as well. And then also the audiobook that I listened to a few weeks ago, that was in my last reading vlog too. And I feel like it's kind of funny because she just always describes the MMC that way. I think I would enjoy this a little bit more if it was more of a slow burn, but I know Ali Hazelwood isn't known for slow burn romance at all. So I feel like they'll be getting together very, very soon. They kind of just made an agreement that they're going to be friends with benefits, but I just feel like it's a little too soon for them to be getting together. But I know that is kind of part of this book, and it's described as a forbidden steamy college romance. I don't really know why it would be forbidden though, because just because they're on the same team, or maybe with them working together in the research project, I don't know if that would be forbidden, but yeah, I don't know, I guess we'll find out. It seems like Lucas this whole time has really noticed Scarlett and paid attention to her. Meanwhile, Scarlett has just been laser focused in on her studies and diving, so she doesn't really know that he is kind of interested in her, which I don't know if that's a great thing because he technically was with Penelope for those 2 years, but now she's definitely aware that he is kind of into her and notices her, which oddly enough she's comforted by and isn't freaked out by. I feel like some things in this are a little bit awkward though, especially the situation with Penelope kind of suggesting that the two of them get together, which happened within the first like 2 chapters. And then the fact that they're emailing each other about their agreement, I thought that was kind of funny because an email is just so random and feels so formal compared to, like, they have each other's number, so I don't know why they couldn't just text each other. But yeah, they email each other about this kind of deal. But yeah, that is kind of what's been going on. There's also some chapters with Scarlett as well as her therapist talking about how she can overcome her diving block, which her therapist has kind of said, what are you afraid of? But I feel like it's also kind of insinuating like what is she afraid of in terms of putting herself out there in general as well, and not only associated with her sport and diving. So I hope we can explore that a little bit more with those sessions with the therapist, and I am enjoying this so far. I've been reading for about 2 hours I think, and I'm going to continue tonight. But that is the update for now, and I think I can get maybe 2/3 of the way through this tonight, and then tomorrow I'll give you guys another update. Next day now, and I'm on chapter 46, page 304 of Deep End. I'm definitely getting more invested in Scarlett and Lucas's relationship. At first I wasn't sure about Lucas as an MMC. I felt like he was very cold and it was a little bit off-putting to me, but now he has started to open up a little bit more about himself. But I will definitely say that for me, Scarlett is the star of this book. I just feel like she is such a complex character, very misunderstood, and there were so many moments where she's thinking about her situation and it was just so sad. I really felt for her, and I just could see how she was caught up in all of these self-destructive behaviors, and her whole life she's been trying to make other people happy and put these very high standards on herself, being this very perfectionist person, but she's been doing all of this at the expense of her own mental health. And even after she has had some success, she still feels like she's not good enough for anyone around her. And now with her relationship with Lucas, although I don't feel like it's a good thing to say that he saved her, but you can definitely see through her facade of pretending that everything is okay and really understands her as a person. And I do have a quote here that she says to him, "You care about me being well more than about me being good at something." And this just goes to show that everyone else in her life really just wants her to be achieving these high things with her diving, academically, whereas Lucas, he just wants to make sure that she's okay mentally and that she is doing things for herself and not just to please other people. And with the romance, there's that usual trope with the kind of friends with benefits situation where one person feels like the other is still hung up on their ex, and Scarlett feels like Lucas still might like Penelope a little bit, even though he's told her that he is not interested in Penelope, and Penelope is also seeing another guy. So Scarlett's just kind of getting in her head with that whole situation. It's very obvious, and it has been obvious from the start, that they both have mutual feelings other than just their physical attraction for each other. I will say I don't really like the spice scenes, and I was talking about it with a friend, and she was saying that she feels like Ali Hazelwood's spice scenes just are a little bit forced, and I would say that I kind of agree with her on that front, and I'm kind of skipping those spice scenes just because they're just not doing it for me. But I can definitely get past that, and to me there's a lot more to this book than just the spice. But yeah, otherwise I think this book is great so far. I did want to mention though that Lucas slept with jeans on one night with Scarlett. That was crazy work in my opinion. Anyways, aside from that very odd behavior, I'm going to finish this up. I'll update you guys with my final thoughts very soon. So I just want to know why Penelope feels like she is entitled to just go back to Lucas after her boyfriend breaks up with her, and she has the audacity to say to Scarlett that Scarlett and Lucas's relationship has no meaning other than physical. A little bit bold of her to do that. Anyways, I'm on chapter 58 and I'm almost done. We'll be updating really soon. I just finished Deep End and I'm feeling generous today, and I think I'm going to give this 4 stars. There's definitely things that I did not like about this book, notably the spice. I just was not really a fan of, but I mean that's what I kind of signed up for. It literally says steamy college romance on the back. So I did know going into this that it was going to be spice heavy. However, I was just really able to connect with Scarlett and empathize with her and her situation. I know I already said it in the last clip, but she just really made this book for me so great, and I'll go over what happened. So basically, Scarlett was approached by this girl. This was kind of a side plot which didn't even really matter, so I'll talk about this very briefly, but she was approached by this girl who used to swim with Penelope or Pen, kind of warning Scarlett about her because she said that Penelope ruined this girl's life. And Scarlett was not very sure about this, and I wasn't really sure whether or not Penelope was in fact a mean girl, but Scarlett chose to side and be loyal to Penelope. But it turned out that her problems weren't really related to Penelope, but she just blamed Pen for them anyways. But going back to the romance, there were a few chapters where Scarlett and Lucas were kind of hinting to each other that they were interested in pursuing something more than friends, but they never really had a full conversation about it till the very end. It was very obvious that they were both into each other and both wanted to pursue an actual relationship. And then we get to the third act breakup and the dramatic part of the book where Penelope is dumped by her new boyfriend. She's devastated, and then she feels like she wants to actually go back with Lucas and that it was a mistake that she broke up with Lucas in the first place. And she's saying this all to Scarlett, which is weird because she knows that Scarlett and Lucas are a thing and are kind of seeing each other, I guess. But she says to Scarlett, well, I know you guys are just hooking up, so it's not going to be a big deal if I want to get back to Lucas, right? But Scarlett doesn't really know what to say because she's definitely into Lucas, but she doesn't really want to admit it to Penelope yet. I guess maybe because she hasn't even admitted it to herself or to Lucas yet. So she kind of just stays quiet on that front. But the NCAA competition ends up happening, which Scarlett ends up winning, but Penelope was the favorite to do a back-to-back win. And right before awards, Scarlett and Lucas are seen publicly together kind of for the first time, and Penelope is very, very upset because she feels like Scarlett took this gold medal from her and then also took her boyfriend from her, which is really far from the truth. Scarlett and Lucas tell Penelope that she's kind of out of line for saying that or assuming that that is what happened. And even Penelope comes around at the end and apologizes to Scarlett for the things that she said. They still are best friends, which I feel like is kind of odd, but they were able to work it out. Honestly, it was just super messy, and it probably wasn't a good idea for her to be getting with her best friend's ex in the first place, even though this wasn't her idea to begin with. And I was kind of surprised that it went a little bit in that love triangle direction. But at the same time that Penelope is upset with Scarlett, Lucas is telling Scarlett that he's in love with her and he wants her to say it back to him. She's just very overwhelmed with this whole situation and ends up kind of just having a break from both of them. And at the end, she ends up going to Sweden to see him, and all is fine, and they mend their relationship. They're officially together. He goes to med school. She's also going to med school too, and then living happily ever after. So that is all that happened in Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. There was also another side plot with Penelope where she got a false positive with a doping test, so she was kind of freaking out about that because she wasn't doping. Anyway, that wasn't really that important. I do really like Scarlett and Lucas together, but I just think with the nature of this trope that they don't really have that pursuit of one person that is trying really hard to be with the other person, like going on actual dates and whatnot. I think I just prefer that over them just like hanging out in their bedroom every single day. I just like that more romantic aspect in the couples that I read. I also find with this trope that the tension between the two main characters is broken very quickly, as opposed to other romances where there's a little bit more yearning. So yeah, overall I feel like just with this trope I wouldn't give it 5 stars in general, just because of how that trope usually plays out in romances anyways. But nonetheless, I still really enjoyed, and I'm still giving this a solid 4 stars, which I think is actually pretty high for a contemporary romance. I haven't really been rating contemporary romances very high lately, so this one has stood out for me, and I think this actually might be my favorite book by Ali Hazelwood. Actually, I don't know, because I really liked The Love Hypothesis. Maybe I still like The Love Hypothesis a little bit more than this one, but I think this is probably a close second in that case. That's going to be the end of this reading vlog of reading Deep End. If you guys have read this book, please let me know your thoughts on it in a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more book content, and I will see you guys in a new video very soon. Bye!